Salute BookTube. Welcome back to my channel. It's been a while. I apologize. I was supposed to post this a bit earlier on the weekend. It's Monday evening now where I'm at. I was supposed to post this earlier. Let's just say life got on the way. And so I wasn't able this weekend to post as earlier as I would have liked. But for those who are following the channel, again, thank you for being here and thank you for following and watching my videos. This is part 3 of my Eid book haul. Eid wasn't this past weekend, it was the weekend before, so this is really late. But basically what Eid is it's an Islamic holiday in which Muslims are obliged to go and do the pilgrimage to Mecca. I've explained it in the first 2 videos of this 3-part book haul, and you can watch those videos. But so what I did for Eid, which was it was a long holiday for where I'm at, and for those who don't know, I'm in the heart of the Middle East, in the United Arab Emirates. So it was a long holiday for Eid. I went book shopping. I got 30 books. And I know you might say 30 books, big book haul, and that's true. But as I also mentioned in the first 2 videos of this 3-part book haul, I tend to, when I do go book shopping, I tend to buy big amounts. Even if I don't need to, I've got enough books to support the used bookstores in my area, because there's not that many of them. And if I don't, I have no source of used books. I have to go to the new bookstores, which are they're comprehensive but they're expensive. So that's why I do it, and also it's fun. But that was that. And so I did part 1 last weekend. I did a part 2 in the middle of the week, and I wanted to do a part 3 during the weekend, maybe on a Friday or a Saturday or even a Sunday. But yeah, like I said, life got in the way. And then war got in the way as well. I'm sure many people who are watching this have been heard the news. It's a little bit feisty here in the Middle East. Not where I'm at, but specifically in Iran and in Israel and the back and forth that's going on now. Very, very concerning times. So that's also been in the background and has drifted my attention away from BookTube for a bit. But I'm back, better late than never. And I thought we'd do the last 10 books of the book. Also, part 1 had 10 books, part 2 10 books, and this is part 3. I'll do 10 books. It's a good mix, not a good mix. It's mostly non-fiction, but there is a couple of fiction books. I'll start with the first one. This one is, well, it's fiction, but it's historical fiction, and this author, I've amassed a couple of his books now. I can start reading him. I haven't read a single, but I haven't read a single book of his. I've amassed a couple of his books, and I keep hearing about him. This is James A. Michener, and this is Centennial. Michener writes books about, they're like historical fiction, but they're very detailed history. I don't know if I'm explaining it well, but it's he does a large sweep. So there is a storyline, but there's also a lot of history involved, and it's just intertwined with the history. I don't know if I'm explaining it well, but if you see a lot of Michener's other books, they're about a specific country. So he has a book called Mexico. He has a book called Poland. He's got a book called he's got a bunch of books. One of them is about South Africa, the Covenant, that's what it's called. He's got a book called Alaska. He's got a book called Texas. This one is called Centennial. And it's called Centennial because it's about the Centennial State. Does anybody know? Quiz time. No, the Centennial State is Colorado. So this is about Colorado. And Colorado is called the Centennial State, I believe, because it gained statehood. It became a state of the United States of America in the year, in the centennial of America, so 1876. So that's why it's called the Centennial State. And this is about Colorado. It's a story about Colorado. Um, so yeah, I'm glad to have found this. I think I've got Mexico. You can see here it says he's the author of Mexico. I've got that. I've got a couple of Michener books, so I can probably get started and actually read them instead of accumulating the books on my shelf. Um, next book is also fiction. This is by Joseph Heller. It's Catch 22. So Joseph Heller, again, this BookTube made me do it. Again, for those of you who are new to this channel, I don't read much fiction. Actually, BookTube's getting me into fiction, so I'm trying to read. And this comes also well recommended on BookTube. This is apparently a very good novel. I have no idea what it's about. I really don't. I mean, I could read. Okay, I'll read the beginning. It's a very small back cover copy. It's a couple of lines. It says, hilarious and tragic. At the heart of Catch 22 is a savage indictment of 20th century madness and a desire of the ordinary man to survive it. Okay, that doesn't give me. That's very, very, very general, very vague, but comes well recommended on BookTube. I think I found another Joseph Heller that I have. The title which escapes me, but it's somewhere here. I think it's God Knows, and that one I think was about. I think it's about the prophet Abraham from the Bible, but I'm not too sure if that's the correct prophet that's discussed in that book. It's a fictionalized account story. I'm also not sure if the book is called God Knows, but I think it is. Anyway, this one is his most famous. He's more famous. Joseph Heller is more famous for this Catch 22. So I'll read it and I'll let you know if it's what it's hyped up to be. So yeah, those were the well, there's one more. Oops. Okay, I just dropped the book. One more fiction. Well, it's historical fiction. It's actually, well, can you even call it historical fiction? Is a bit controversial. And I got this before this whole events were happening. But this is by Cliff Graham, and it's called Day of War. And it's part of the Lion of War series. And this is about. Well, I'll read the back cover. It says in ancient Israel, so it's biblical fiction basically, or Old Testament fiction. At the crossroads of the greatest trading routes, a man named Benaiah, speaking to bury his troubled past, has joined a band of soldiers led by a warlord named David. I think that's David becomes King David of the Bible, of the Old Testament. Their ragged army is full of disgruntled, reckless men. Some are loyal to David, others are only with him for the promise of captured wealth. As the ruthless and insane King Saul marches hopelessly against the powerful Philistines, the land of the Hebrew tribes has never been more despondent and more in need of rescue. Maybe a little pertinent now. From snowy mountain passes to terrifying battlefield, always alone and always outnumbered, Benaiah and his fellow mercenaries must call upon every skill they have to survive if they don't kill each other first. Day of War is the first book in the Lion of War series, an intense, gritty, and stylistic portrayal of the mighty men of Israel, of biblical Israel. A ragtag band of warriors who came to King David in his most desperate hour and fought with him until he claimed the throne he was destined to fill. And then the last line, it says here, their legendary deeds are recorded in 2:723 and 1 Chronicles 11. Okay, so there, it gets pretty serious, kind of biblical fiction, I guess. And then when you read about the author, that's Cliff Graham. He's right there. Cliff Graham is an officer in the United States Army National Guard, currently serving in the Chaplain Corps. In the Chaplain's Corps, the chaplains, the priests of the Army. Graham was born in Dallas, Texas, and raised in Rapid City, South Dakota. He graduated from Black Hill State University and did his graduate studies at Liberty Theological Seminary. And this is basically his first novel, and it seems to have done quite well. Earned him a film option for the entire Line of War book series from director David L. Cunningham, Path to 9/11, and producer Grant Curtis, the Spider-Man films. Graham lives in the mountains of Utah with his wife Cassandra and their children. So the author, let's just say, is a man of God. He was in the chaplain corps, so I think he's got a degree in theology. And yeah, basically, it's I guess the term is biblical fiction. I don't know. It's like we mentioned the Joseph Heller, not Catch-22, his other book, which I think is called God Knows, is a look at biblical, fictionalizing biblical story. This is the same thing, but this is much more gruesome and war. Basically, the story of King David and against Goliath, and it's fictionalized. So again, I don't know much about it, but that's why I read the back copy. But again, the author, I guess, from an evangelical background, and it makes sense, at least the subject matter. The American evangelicals have always been very, very pro-Israel. So those are the fiction. The rest, those are three. I think there's about seven or eight books left, but those are the fiction. The rest is mostly non-fiction. Hopefully, I can keep it entertaining. If for those who don't like non-fiction, if you don't like history, especially, you can probably stop this video now. But for those who are interested, I'll continue. This is by Tim Clayton, and it's called Tars. And this is The Men Who Made Britain Rule the Waves. So this is basically a naval history of the Britain, basically. If we look at the table of contents, it'll help us. It doesn't really help us, but Tim Clayton wrote the book Trafalgar. I don't know if anybody's heard of that. So he's written sort of naval histories. And this one, I'm assuming, this can't be the entire history of Britain, I think, and I don't know what TARS even refers to. TARS is a gripping first-hand account of life in the Royal Navy during the 4 years of crucial innovation and fierce war with France and Spain. Okay, this is the 7 Years' War. It was the war from which Britain emerged as the world's first global power. For those who don't know, I put my history teacher hat on. The 7 Years' War is called the 7 Years' War in Europe, but in America it's called the French and Indian War. And this is basically, yes, when Britain defeated France, pretty much defeated France, controlled all of North America. They drove the French out. They were pretty supreme in Europe, and they took control of India. This is really the height of British power. And then, of course, they lost America later, but Britain still was a dominant naval power until World War I, World War II. But yeah, so this is okay. So this is okay. When I got this, I thought it was the entire British naval history, but it seems it's about the 7 Years' War. So the 7 Years' War was from, I don't know if it'll tell me, 1760s. I think it ended in 1763. And that's what led to the American War of Independence. The British defeated the French. They paid a lot of money to do it. They were pretty much broke after it. So they went to the American colonies and said, "You are British citizens. We have fought a war to protect you, and we've driven the French out. Now it's time for you to pay back. So we're going to raise taxes. We're going to, basically raise taxes, and and this is a decree from Parliament in London, and you have no say in the matter." And we all know the rest. The Americans were not too happy about that, and they revolted. So yeah, that's that one. And then the next book is, I don't really need this. I'm trying to clear my ancient history bookshelves. But then I found this. Again, I want to support the bookshops, the local used bookshops where I'm at. So I picked this up, even though maybe I didn't need it. It's by John Camp and Elizabeth Fisher, and it's exploring the world of the ancient Greeks. And it's Thames and Hudson. I'm sure a lot of people know about Thames and Hudson, but they're this is textbooky almost, but there's a lot of photos as well. So you got photos. I think that's Crete, somewhere where I've been. I've been to there. Crete is very beautiful. If you haven't been, you should go. Yeah, it's just about ancient Greece. Pictures, photos, and prose. The Peloponnesian War. It's an authoritative survey of ancient Greek history and culture. So again, I'm not Western. The ancient Greeks were the origins of Western civilization began with Greece, or ancient Greece. So I know that's very important in the West. I'm not from the West. I'm from the Middle East. So Greeks maybe not as, I don't know, pertinent, but this looked nice, and it's got the photos, and I still find it fascinating to read about the Greeks. I've got a decent collection of ancient Greek books. I should start plucking away at them, keep what I want, what is good, and get rid of what I don't want or what is not good. So this will give me the kick in the behind to get that done. And so next we'll go another book I don't need, because I've been trying to, especially in 2025, I've been trying to clear my Windsor book collection. So I had a couple of biographies of Queen Elizabeth. I had a book about Princess Kate, Kate Middleton, the Duchess of Cambridge, I believe, Cambridge. I had Spare. I found a used copy of Spare by Prince Harry. So and I'm reading now a biography of Prince Charles. So I've been trying I have those books. I'm trying to clear them, see what I want to keep and what I want to get rid of. I don't need tons and tons of books about the Windsors. And I'm trying to go, I don't know, maybe I'll keep going back. So I've done we can say the modern Windsors or the contemporary Windsors, and then maybe I'll go back from there, go backwards. Who knows? Maybe until I reach King William or Alfred the Great. But instead of reading it from the beginning to the end, I might go from behind or from the current period and go backwards. I don't know. But the next logical step, I guess, although I don't know how good this will be and how interesting. I'll keep an open mind. This is Elizabeth, the Queen Mother. So this isn't Queen Elizabeth, it's the Queen Mother, Elizabeth's mother, who confusingly has the same name, and it's by Hugo Vickers. Again, there's a little bit of dirt on the cover. It's a nice white cover, and there she is. I think she died in, I should know, does it say? Is it even published before she passed away? This is 2005. I think she passed away around that time, actually, around 2005. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, the Queen Mother passed away, and then her daughter, Princess Charlotte, Queen Elizabeth's sister, Princess Margaret, excuse me, not Charlotte, Margaret, Elizabeth's sister, passed away a couple of months after her mother. So, anyway, I'm going backwards. I think I don't find every Windsor book. I don't know how many I'll read. I'm not obsessive about this, but I do have a book there about George the Sixth, or is it George the Fifth? Or is it the Sixth? I should have it. It's George the Fifth, not her husband. Her husband. So she's the wife of King George the Sixth, who was the king during the Second World War, who took over, who ascended to the throne when his brother abdicated to marry an American divorcee. So when she married George the Sixth, who became George the Sixth, it wasn't even in their thought that they would become the royal family, or that her husband would become king and she would become queen. So that's very interesting. that part I think will make up the most interesting part of the story, and then I don't know, maybe how she raised Elizabeth. And I know that King Charles is very close, what was very close to Elizabeth, his grandmother, Queen Mother. Uh, it's big, but I'll do it. I'll give it a read. Uh, Hopefully sooner rather than later. And then the last couple of books, we'll do it quickly. I don't want this video to go on and on, although it's been a while since I posted and I wanted to do this earlier, but again, situation, both personal and geostrategical, has made me a bit late posting this. But this next one, well-known World War II correspondent and writer. I've got a couple of his books. Now I've got a third one. I'm very excited. This is William L. Shire, William L. Shire, and it's Berlin Diary. The subtitle is The Journal of a Foreign Correspondent, 1934 to 1941. So William Shire, if you know your World War II, he's written the book The Rise and Fall of the Third Reich, which I have. It's a big book, but very well written. He's a great writer, So this is a journalistic look at the Second World War. Actual journalist. He was embedded in Berlin with the rise of the Nazis, and he just gives his first-hand accounts. Just the right man in the right place. Gifted writer at a time of very crucial historical importance. I'm just looking at my other shelf, just if I can pull it out without getting out of camera too much. But I had another book that I found I've been playing around with my shelves. So what I used to usually know where everything is, but recently I've been playing around, and books have moved around from where I originally, or some of them. So okay, I found it right here. It's just right here next to me. This is by William L. Shire. This is The Nightmare Years. Is it the same? Okay, no, this is Berlin Diary. This is called The Nightmare Years. This is a pretty, I don't know if this is going to survive this paperback, but it's 1930 to 1940. Again, more just writings about his time in Nazi Germany with the rise of Adolf Hitler. Just an American, I think he's an American, a journalist recording what he saw. But again, it's not just any journalist. He's an extremely accomplished writer. So it makes it read almost like, I mean, the rise and fall of the Third Reich is especially for World War II. Anybody who reads about World War II knows about Shire, but if you haven't, you should read him. The next two books, one of which, both of them. One of them is a history book. The other one is more of a picture and it's prose and pictures, but it's about the same subject. It's about the Punic Wars and the Phoenicians. This is the Punic Wars by Nigel Bagnall. And then this is called Carthage, the Punic City. And this is the one that's more photo and a bit more, I don't know, it looks almost... No, I don't think it's for children or for high school. I think it's... Anyway, no, I mean, it could be for adults. It's not. It looks like a child textbook, but I don't think it is. And this is obviously just a book about the Punic Wars between the Carthaginians and the Romans. Again, ancient history. I don't need ancient history. I'm trying to clear my ancient history, and here I am buying more ancient history. But the Carthaginians, I've got a couple of books. I'll add these two if I can find some time to read them, and then out of the 5, 6 that I have, if I can narrow it down to 1 or 2, I think that'll be more than enough. Choose the best one. That's the idea I have. And then the second to last book is actually the nicest aesthetically. This is called The Mystery of the Ottoman Harem. Right there. And I don't know, I don't see, this isn't an author. I think it's a Turkish, it's a Turkish publication. There's no specific author. I think that's the publisher. His name there. But basically, yeah, this is the harem. The harem, again, in Western imagination, maybe overdone. They existed, but it's always been a point of a mystery and intense interest from Western or Occidental observers of the Occident. Or so did I of the? I think I messed that up. The West of the East have been always fascinated by the harem. But this is actually it's a Turkish publication, and it's I think this is sold in tourist areas, sold as a souvenir of Turkey and all. Because most of the art, but it's just beautiful artwork. This is one lady in the harem smoking a cigarette on her more nudity. Some Ottoman art. I think the first couple ones, because what I'm looking at when there's things about the harem and there's all this kind of stuff, and the two ladies are dancing and all the men are watching. Those are usually Western authors who I think took a bit of liberty, and then the stuff that's, I mean, Middle Eastern or Islamic artists. This is what they focused on geometry, the human form. They don't really, it's not really encouraged in Islamic and regional art. So I don't know. This might be a little bit exaggerated, but it's nice. It's just nice, and then it's got nice art, and it's got. I showed you a couple of them. Just some nice stuff and a lot of prose as well. So I was happy to find this. I actually saw this a while ago, but didn't pick it up or forgot to pick it up. And then when I went book shopping in on the last long Eid holiday, I was hoping it was still there. It was still there, so I was able to pick it up. And then the last book, I'll wrap this up as quickly as possible. This is a book I wouldn't usually get, but again, it was there, and I was again quite impressed by the art and the amount of prose in it. Again, it's one of those picture-y books, but it's more, I don't know what the word is, conspiracy, like sort of mystery. It's called Heaven's Mirror, and the subtitle is The Quest for the Lost Civilization, and it's by Graham Hancock and Santa Faya. And of course, you've got the pyramids, very popular subject for for any book cover, really. But yeah, they talk about. I mean, it gets a bit. What's the word? I don't know, science fiction-y. It gets a bit mythological, but basically, what secrets did the ancient Egyptians know? So there's a lot of ancient Egypt. You can see more ancient Egypt art. But then they go on and they talk a lot about. There's the chapter. I hope I can. There's a chapter about Cambodia and what was the great temple in Cambodia, which I've never been to. I've been to a great Buddhist temple in Indonesia. It's this one. You'll know what I'm talking about. Angkor Wat. Angkor Wat. That's the one. I haven't been there, but they talk about that. And then the other one that was interesting, I think there's some stuff about the Maya or the Aztecs. One of them. And then there was some stuff about basically the Easter Island. Sorry, okay. Yeah, I think I found it. Yeah, the statues on Easter Island. But again, there's a lot of astrology and what secrets did the ancients know and what secrets do they have. It's that kind of book. I don't know if it's factual. It's not like history. It's more, again, I don't know what the word is. But I picked it up. I would usually not pick this up, but it was really cheap. Lots of good photos, color photos, and lots of prose. So see, there's a chapter here called Castles in the Sand. I don't know what that refers to. The Titanic megalith of Saskatchewan in the Peruvian Andes. Okay. So just Secrets of the Ancients, basically. But yeah, this video is just approaching half an hour, so I think I'll cut this off. I apologize for the delay. It's been a wild week, but better late than never. Thank you so much for watching my videos. Thank you so much. If you're a new subscriber, welcome. Although Eid is now almost a week, more than a week ago, not this past weekend, the weekend before. I'm glad I showed all the books that I got, and I hope to make another video very soon. Thank you, BookTube. Salute.